I did. Time to get back to work. We've done that since the night of the 26th. There's not a whole lot to say about Missouri that hasn't already been said about that game, and they outfought us, they outcompeted us, they out-toughed us, and we were very aware of that. Guys were not pleased. I'll use that word. I think with the effort that and the tenacity with which we played, very uncharacteristic-like. 16-second chance points was ultimately the difference in the ball game. Our first shot defense was terrific, maybe as good as we've had. We handled assignments well. The game took place when the ball was thrown up, and they hit us, and we didn't do we were not very competitive in terms of hitting back. And we can look at the offensive stuff, but when you miss 11 layups, and you turn the ball over like we turned it over, it makes it very hard against anybody to win. And so we'll work to correct those things. We've continued to address some of those issues in practice. And now we get a North Carolina A&T team that is extremely athletic, probably the most athletic team that we will play this year. They're one of the top 10 teams in the country in block shots. They're up there in steals. They're a team that is going to play many defenses. They'll throw 5 or 6 different defenses, from presses to every zone, man, and they'll get a couple guys back who've been injured, or we're anticipating that in May, and Quay Parker. It's a game that we got to be assignment sound defensively. We got to make things hard for them, and then we've got to handle the changing defenses that they'll throw at us.
Let's talk about the third side ball reversal and how that looked on the review in Missouri.
Well, there weren't a lot of them. They did a very solid job. They hard hedged us, which we didn't handle very well. It doesn't matter how much time you spend on that, you still, when you're in that moment, have to understand what it's like to have 2 guys on you. So that detracted from our ability to get it to the third side a lot. And then it stuck. The ball just stops. And we've talked and worked a lot on that. The ball can't get to Kipper, the ball can't get to Georgie, and it's sticking because we're looking high-low all the time. It's the impatience that we showed in trying to do things too quick. Again, we're one of the most efficient teams in the country when we score under 10 seconds, and we're top 10. Our initial hit in the Missouri game was very good, and then we just stopped, and it started with the ball sticking in our trailer spot. So we've worked to try to address that, and there's nothing better than ball reversal, and we didn't have enough of it.
How much does that affect Kofi's, or the ability to feed Kofi in the low post?
Well, I think you look at our assist totals on the year. A lot of our assist totals are coming from the high-low situation, and a lot of them from Georgie. I think Georgie's got 2 or 3 times as many assists to Kofi as anybody else on our team. But again, it's something that, as scouting happens, teams are taken away and teams are preparing for, and yeah, that's when you've got to make the extra and not try to get it on the first side or the second side. You've got to make a third or fourth side. Kofi's got to do his part. Kofi's still learning the game and learning how to keep contact and continually seal and not give up post-up position when he's got contact. And those are all growing things that a freshman, and especially one at his size, has never had to deal with. And he's continuing to learn.
Can you talk about the opportunity on the glass? With as many guys as you send at the glass, if they're going to send 2 guys at Kofi, it would seem like there's opportunities there for others on the floor.
Yeah, there's a reason Allen got 6 of them.
Right.
He went. Kipper's averaging 1.3 rebounds a game. A guy is a sophomore that averaged 6 or close to it. And, we've talked at length about that. Georgie's got to continually go. We can't ask for the responsibility of Kofi just to be a one-man rebounding team. And DeMonte's got to go. DeMonte was a guy as a freshman that was extremely active on the offensive glass, and we're trying to reignite those fires and understand that it's easy sometimes when it's 7 foot, 290 pounds to expect Kofi to get them. And I know these next 19 games, or however many they are, people are going to pay attention to Kofi, and so it means opportunities for others.
Allen's someone you kind of pointed out as having a good game against Missouri. What impressions have you gotten of what he's been able to do for you this season?
Well, he competes. I mean, the one thing I love about Allen is no matter what the situation, he competes. He just hoops, and he made one of the elite plays I've seen, sprinting from a dead corner. They ended up calling it goaltending, but he outran 3 of his teammates in the whole Missouri team, and I mean, you look at his head's at the top of the almost rim level. Allen just plays, and he does what he's supposed to do. And we tell him to offensive rebound, he offensive rebounds, and I'm excited. He's got this opportunity over the break to get 1 million jump shots in, and we know he's a great shooter, and he hasn't seen enough go in, but he's very, very capable on that end as well. So I was excited for Allen and the job he did.
Talked about reigniting fires, you're playing with your hair on fire. How are you approaching you being the one that to pull that out, or a leader to do that?
No doubt. I know where that has to come from now, and you hope that there's a self-engaged locker room that's ready to hold people accountable there. And right now that's not the case, and I'm okay with that. And it makes it sometimes more challenging, but that's okay. I've done that before, and I'll do it again. And we can't have the every 3 or 4 games lapses like we had against Miami, like we had against Missouri, where it's just not competing, not playing to a level of toughness and aggressiveness that you have to be consistently good. And we're working on that.
How do you help build a self-engaged locker room, though? What goes into just creating that in general, though?
Yeah, it's habit, and it's a lot of. I mean, you don't make leaders. You don't. It's you've got to want to lead others, and sometimes it's we have enough guys trying, I think, and yet it's there's a tremendous amount of discipline to be a leader. Because you have to do it yourself every day. You have to be accountable and responsible, and we're growing in that area. And sometimes it's really hard to lead when maybe you're not playing as well as you're capable of, or you think you should be playing. So you get down or a little frustrated. We have leaders in there, and we've just got to continue to grow it. And until then, I'll be that guy.
Do the numbers from the perimeter statistically concern you at this point, or do you feel like that will eventually turn around and even itself out?
No, I think it'll turn around. I think that, again, offense is a very fickle part of the game, and it's got to happen in rhythm. And I always say that you don't mess with the game of basketball. The game will always win, and when you don't treat it right and play unselfish and make the extra pass and be disciplined and do your job and set your screen, the game will always find a way to win. We'll get that figured out, because we've got really good shooters. You come in and watch our guys shoot, and we're a very, very good shooting team. But you've got to treat the game the right way, and you've got to play it the right way, and we're getting there.
Coming off of the Missouri game, how did you feel like your team responded in practice in those first couple of games, or the first couple of practices back from?
Yeah, that was I think the $1 million every sleepless night, over the break was, how a guy's going to handle that, and I think the break helped. I think there's, you get a little reflection when you get away, and guys came back recharged, probably had as good a practice and we did more than just run the turkey out on the night of the 26th and got up and down. The guys were very good, and we've been very, very receptive and very, very productive the last few days.
How do you fix a stagnant offense when you're not getting maybe easy points in transition or at the free throw line?
It's hard. It's hard. It's not easy. And I mean, it's a, I think the one thing that you see over the course of college basketball is the level of scouting. Teams don't let you do what you do well, and teams don't let players do what they do well. They try to exploit weakness, and you're trying to create opportunities all the time, and when guys haven't shot the ball well, the floor shrinks, and you've got to, we're at about a 70% efficiency rate in transition. Well, teams want to take you out of that, and so it's just continually working on it and growing and passing and playing unselfish, and it'll always right the ship when you do the right things.
Does part of that go into still trying to build maybe chemistry on the offensive end in the half court too in that case?
I don't think it's chemistry. I think it's execution and understanding and knowing and reading the game. The game's not just drop a play and run a play. The game is about reading what the defense does, and whether it's ball screens, Missouri hard hedged. Old Dominion had iced or forced everything down, and all of a sudden they go to a flat hedge. They do something different. So your reads become constantly different from game to game based on what you do. And when you combine that with the scouting piece of individual weaknesses or team weaknesses and strengths, those are things we have to adapt to and consciously make an effort to execute. And when you execute, good things happen.
Where's Dre right now regarding all of that?
He's been great since he's been back. He's been great. He had the worst game he's had. I think that Dre and Georgie would tell you they played as bad as they could possibly play in the Missouri game. And he's been back on the glass. He's been pushing in tempo and in transition. He's been the old Dre.
When a team commits as much as Missouri did to send bodies at Kofi, what responsibilities does he have to handle that, and then also the other guys to get open and take advantage of when?
Well, it's really easy. You're either, and I've told Kofi this all year. I mean, at some point when you're as big as he is, you're going to occupy more than one person. How you handle that is you're either a punching bag or you're a guy who actually wants to throw something back. And when you're 290 pounds, it's pretty nice to be able to throw back and punch back. And he's got to initiate more contact. He's not got to be the one to just stand there and let it crack down on him and drive him out of bounds. He's got to be the one that when that guard cracks down, you just hit a fixture. I'm not moving, and then hit them back. And again, those are all things that he's learning. And as people send bodies to him, it's like I told guys, it's the one area you can be really selfish in basketball, and that's on the glass. And when you've got a guy that's going to occupy people like Kofi is, makes things a little bit easier. So go, do your job.
You said before the Old Dominion game, I believe, that you were concerned about the start just because of where it came on the schedule and all the other things. Do you have the same concern about tomorrow night, or do you have a different feel about tomorrow night?
No, I think
because of the layoff.
Yeah, I think there's always a little apprehension. I'd be lying if I said otherwise. I mean, you come off of Christmas break, we had a day longer Christmas break than we've had in the past, and it's no different than why every coach is apprehensive. You look at Missouri had an extra week of preparation with finals. They were out of school, and we're in finals until the last day, and guys missing practice. Well, you always have apprehension because of those things. Same thing with Christmas break. So, but I'm excited to be back out here, and you got the majority of the Big Ten season looking you right in the face, and that's exciting stuff.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Coach.